So I assume most of you watch my videos because sort of meme builds and not for too serious builds. But this is sort of an exception because I really want that Abyss portal effect, so I am trying to push for 36 challenges. I never really liked the style of Blade Vortex, but I sort of rolled the dice of what skill to use and I got Blade Vortex, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm trying, well, I did try to take it to the very end game bosses. And the build feels really strong. I basically had absolutely no problems doing any red tier maps, even Rigwald in Dark Forest, even Visa Reflect maps. However, I ran into problems when I tried to do Shaper, and the Shaper himself is absolutely doable. However, this was my first attempt at Shaper fight, but the boss right before the Shaper is really annoying for melee, and the skills were stay in melee. And also I messed up with Vortex balls in the last Shaper fight, and I basically had nowhere to stand and do damage. But for pretty much anything else, well, maybe besides Uber Aziri, the build is really strong and does very well. I did Winter Square, normal Aziri is a joke. I did Elder's Guardians in tier 9-11 maps. I did Shaper's Guardians, which were pretty easy on the first try without failing. The build has pretty good defensive mechanics, couple of them. Freezing, blinding, endurance charges, immortal call, fortify, fast movement speed, sort of reliable leech, and easily over 6000 life. And with level 20 Blade Vortex it reaches over 500,000 Shaper DPS, but that is against shield enemies, which I'm using Vortex, and with 20 Blade Vortex stacks. Also, I do have some pretty expensive items, but I did craft them myself. I wanted to use as many as possible Shaper and Elder items. Also, for this build I'm not even using a 5-link. Well, I did eventually use 5-link for my other setup, but not for Blade Vortex. I'm gonna talk about items and passive skill tree in a moment. I am trying to be a bit more efficient with my videos and trying to reduce the amount of time it takes for me to edit, well, audio and video. So here goes nothing. So let's take a look at my character, and if you haven't seen me streaming, then that's how I talk. And so yeah, let's see. Items. I got this one. It cost about 1.5 exalt maybe. I did craft it myself and I was pretty lucky. So basically for Blade Vortex, which is spell damage, you want, well, at least I wanted extra fire, extra lighting, and on scepters you can also get extra random element. So if you can get triple extra damage, it would be insane damage. Right, so, but you can also use daggers with spell crit. I did try to compare it in Path of Building, but DPS was very similar, so use whatever you can. Then helmet from my previous build, and this is my actually Blade Vortex setup. In my previous build, Spark Totem, yeah, Sparker Totem, I was using this, and I didn't really want to waste currency trying to 6-link, which also I crafted this very lucky, but you don't really need spell crit armor. Actually, you could even use Calm's Heart. It would be a bit more difficult to manage your sockets, but whatever. So the helmet, this is Essence crafted helmet to give socketed gems 30% more elemental damage, and also it has level 20 Hypothermia, and Hypothermia does more damage once you chill enemies. So since I got pretty high cold damage, for the most time, actually, yeah, I do have sort of split damage between cold, fire, lighting, and well, mostly lighting. Yeah, so I do chill enemies with my crits for the most time, because, well, you can chill without crits, but crits do more damage, so it is more reliable. But against big bosses that have high life, I am using Vortex. So Vortex leaves damaging over time ground, which always chills. So for big bosses I am using Vortex on self cast, but I am also using on cast when damage taken setup with increased AoE. So my Blade Vortex is linked with increased critical strikes, and I do have, let's see, 55 critical strikes. I'm not using power charges. If you like to play with Orb of Storms, power charge on crit, and somehow manage to generate charges against like Shaper, then go ahead, but I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, so linked with Blade Vortex critical strike support, Spell Echo just for stacking them faster, and the build feels much smoother if you can quickly stack them. And finally, physical to lighting. At the start I was using added fire damage support gem, but I was convinced to use physical to lighting, and eventually it is, in the end, it is better than added fire support gem. So got this quality, almost everything is quality. I bought Blade Vortex level 20, quality 23. I am still leveling my own Blade Vortex, but level 21 would be a big damage boost, but it costs like over 2 exalts, so level 20 is plenty. Next, my armor, like I said, I crafted myself. Don't really need it. Can probably use Calm's Heart, Belly of the Beast, or I don't know, whatever you can get. So, but I do have Vortex with faster casting, just to be smoother, increase duration to last them longer, and also, well, EV, and also I have Valgrace. So my Valgrace now lasts a bit over 12 seconds. So it is also another defense mechanic. Then let's see. I believe I bought this one. Can't really remember, but yeah, I think I bought it and crafted live. No, actually I bought it already crafted. So this is another extra lighting damage from your physical damage. So, and also crit multiplier is a big damage boost. 5.7. No, actually I lost too much. Anyway, next, ring. Crafted it myself again. Very important is to have Warlord's Mark on hit. Previously I had a lot of mana issues, and I didn't really want to use cast when damage taken with Warlord's Mark, but because that means I need to get hit, need to be damaged in order to get leech, and if I don't get leech, I usually run out of mana. So if you see, sort of draining mana, and it becomes really unsustainable. So Warlord's Mark on hit is very great, because I no longer need to rely on cast on damage taken. I don't need to do any course on hit shenanigans, and I was very lucky to craft this one. I believe this one cost also about 2 exalts, maybe more. So, but it is possible to do without it. I was playing like up to level 85 without this, using cast when damage taken with Immortal Call and cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, and Warlord's Mark. But eventually I dropped it. Next, another ring. I do need dexterity. I'm gonna show passive skill tree later, but I do need dexterity for Blade Vortex level 20. So, and also I did get dexterity on this amulet, so dexterity may be a bit of a problem. Next, my gloves. Now, this is not mandatory, but blind is very good. I am in love with blind. Not with real life blind. So I actually had this from my Heavy Strike build, I believe. Yes. So since Blade Vortex at 20 stacks, I believe it hits 5 times per second, not 20. 5 times per second and at 20 stacks. So it is sort of reliable way to apply blinds. And blinded enemies, if let's say you have 0% evasion, then you will get 50% evasion against blinded enemies. So basically that's another defensive mechanic, which is great. Let's see. I do have shield charge. Well, I'm not a fan of shield charge because I get stuck behind every pebble and I messed up a couple times. So shield charge is linked to faster attacks, of course, because faster attack increase movement speed, so silly walk on your hands. Then fortify, because fortify is the best defensive mechanic in the game probably. And culling strike, because it's really nice to be able to cull bosses that have very high life. Of course, I don't really have high accuracy. Well, actually 70 is not that bad. So yeah. Next, my belt. I did want some belt with armor, so I found this one. It was pretty cheap. Actually, I crafted the lowest possible increased flash life recovery rate, but it goes up to 15%, I believe. It's something extra. Also, this is Abyssal Jewel with gain onslaught. I think this is very good. It does make your leveling, well, map clearing way smoother. It does nothing against single target bosses, but onslaught helps you cast stack blade vortex faster, increases your attack speed to make your shield charging faster, and overall it just makes it a lot smoother. So you basically shield charge, click blade vortex, shield charge, click blade vortex, and continue. So onslaught helps with that a lot. Also, mana regen while moving is also nice, and another mana regen, because like I said, mana was a big problem until I got this. But actually you could get something better. However, onslaught I think only appears on murderous eye jewels and searching eye jewels, the ones that don't benefit spellcasters. So you kind of need to sacrifice something. Then boots. I think I crafted it. No, I found it. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, very nice. A lot of fire, a lot of cold, movement speed, life, strength as well, which is transformed into life. So nothing too special, but still. And I crafted the leech. If you killed recently. Leech, when you killed recently, is very nice if you are doing no regen maps or hexproof maps. So I do have cast and damage taken, clarity, mortal call, increased duration, nothing too special. Also flame dash, hatred gives. Now people kept saying me, why not use Herald of Ice? Well, because hatred gives a lot more damage, and I don't really like killing my FPS too much. But you could use Herald of Ice and that would probably increase your clear speed. But I don't think so, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Herald of Ice, so yeah. What next is my flasks. So I wanted to use 4 utility flasks. Azure Promise gives a lot of damage, and also Leech, which is great. Also Haste Resistance. Diamond Flask, I think it's not mandatory. I don't know. I kind of like using it. So it does roll your critical strikes twice, I believe. That's how it works. These lucky strikes. And then Basalt Flask for big physical damage mitigations. Also roll. This actually is pretty nice roll because I generate flash charges on critical strikes. So that's neat, and also increased armor. So that's double neat. And it would be, if you can afford, I would advise also to use Taste of Hate for even more extra cold damage and physical damage mitigation into cold. So my last 2 flasks are life flasks. Remove freeze, which is helpful if you open boxes without identifying, or just in general. And bleed removal. You do need bleed removal somewhere. Without it, you can't actually do. Without freeze removal, maybe. So yeah, that's about all my items. Shield, I also got to shield myself, but I was planning to use 2 of these, but it doesn't feel tank enough without a shield and without life. I could do without resistances. It's sort of fine, but I don't know. And I sort of wanted more crit, so without a shield, how much crit would I have? I do have 55. Without a shield, it goes to 46. So it's still ok. It's not terrible, but I mean, you could probably gain more damage, or you could use dual wield Shaper or Elder. I can't remember which was. Daggers, dual wield daggers with global crit and extra damage. So, but I mean, if you're not trying to take to the very end game, then and just want insane damage, or maybe you like risking 10, dual wielding these with triple extra damage would be just insane, completely insane. Even now I have over 500,000 Shaper DPS against shield and with 20 stacks. So yeah. And lastly, my passive skill tree. So Inquisitor, because it's OP, and yeah. First took this Inevitable Judgment because it ignores enemy elemental resistance, which is big against big bad bosses like Shaper, Guardians, and whatever else. Next I took this one because of elemental damage mitigation and also pure damage. And lastly I decided to take this. I was thinking about taking Sanctify for regen, but this just makes it so much smoother. Basically, when you shield charge you get spellcast, when you spellcast you get shield charge speed, and it's a very nice synergy. So I haven't really played Inquisitor all that much before, but I'm so impressed how OP it is, and I'm not surprised that it is so popular. So my passive skill tree. At the start I did not go all the way here. I did not took those. I tried to get mana reservation, more life from here, then get spell damage, and grabbing this, also more life from here. So because I thought that I'm gonna be having mana problems, so I just wanted to solve my mana problems. But at around level 85 someone suggested a better passive skill tree and going here. So after some testing I decided that I would not get enough life, and it would just be better to go into shadow area. So that's what I did after grabbing these. Oh, let's see, I got this pretty nice jewel which is like triple damage for my blade vortex. Also skill effect durations. I was also planning to grab this, but eventually in the end I don't feel like I need it anymore, so I only grab these skill effect duration for blade vortex duration. Then let's see, life, another jewel socket. This is also nice. Once you crit you gain 4% extra fire damage from your physical, also some mana regen and some life, but it could be different, so the damage potential can be even higher than this. Oh, don't forget to grab this node as well, because at least in Path of Building at level 20 Blade Vortex, if you remove this you will lose 1 radius. So Blade Vortex already doesn't have a big radius, so you do want to have as much radius as possible. So I did not grab these right at the start at level 85 around. I started traveling here, I mean refunding my points from that side. I grab these, went here, all these, physical damage and some more crit, more life, and then I grabbed these. Had to mess around with my dexterity a bit, had to do some more refunding, grab these, and finally grab that. And at level 90 I grabbed this one. And if you could still level up more, if you really like Blade Vortex that much, I would probably go grab these, because they also do give a lot of damage. Or maybe, I don't know, find another jewel socket. Maybe here would solve your dexterity problems. I don't know. Maybe even that. I'm not sure. Also, this one is pretty strong. Don't ignore it. It does give quite a lot of damage and cast speed, which you sort of need. And also, light radius is the most OP thing in the game. Because why would you want to be blind anyway? And I think that's about all. I think I explained all. Wow. Oh man, it's so long. Oh well. So that's about all. I am taking a break today because of this video, and just been streaming for 1 month without breaks. Also, oh, I almost forgot. I did Winter Square. It was sort of easy. I did mess up a couple times. I got Vessel of Winter. I don't think that it is useful. This physical damage converted into lighting, it doesn't. It gives me, like, I believe, no more than 10,000 DPS at the top. So it's not required. It's not needed. I would just rather use the flask that I have now. Anyway, that's about all. I'll put some outro. I will be back to streaming tomorrow with some new build. I think I got some very interesting meme builds, so I will be back to meme builds. I will eventually try to push all the challenges and eventually do Shaper. Maybe I will do Shaper on this build the other day. Oh, and check out my streams if you haven't, if you got time. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.